In this video, I want to talk about all things arthritis. I want to talk about what arthritis is, how many people it affects, what are some of the statements around arthritis that I agree with, what are some of the ones that I completely disagree with, what does it mean if we're someone who's diagnosed with arthritis, and actually how can we strive forwards and still continue to do the things we love. So let's dive right in. If you're new to the channel, my name's John. I'm a sports injury therapist, and I want to help as many people as I can do three simple things. Understand their bodies better so they can get rid of injury, weakness, and strive forward and hit their health and well-being goals. So in this one, I want to talk about arthritis. And actually, arthritis can be an umbrella term to describe an inflammation of joints, but in particular, I want to talk about osteoarthritis. It's the most common one suffered. So firstly and quickly, what is osteoarthritis? Well, a joint in our body is two bones coming together. So if we imagine at the knee joint, we have the upper leg bone hitting the lower leg bone, and that forms a joint. Now, to keep bones on bones happy, we have a layer of cartilage that surrounds our bones. This is called hyaline cartilage, where the joints meet. Now, unfortunately, our bodies are machines, and like any machine, they can break down over time. So as we constantly have these bones working away, sometimes we can get disturbance, cracking if you like, in that cartilage, and that's when it can become sore. And that's what we get osteoarthritis. Now, how many people get osteoarthritis? Well, about 10 million people in the United Kingdom, where I am, at the moment suffer with osteoarthritis. And that is about 1 in 6 people that we can scale across the world. So about 1 in 6 people are currently living with diagnosed osteoarthritis. And so you might be thinking, well, if it's degeneration, this is just something that affects the elderly perhaps. Well, no. Yes, it becomes more common, more prevalent as we get older because of this degeneration thing, but it can also be very common in youngsters, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the bodies can break down and we get this pain and soreness. How does it typically feel? Well, sometimes it can feel very sore in an area. It can feel hot in an area. We can get inflammation in areas of arthritis, and generally just a little bit grindy. Typically, it can be worse when it's cold, because when we haven't got the lubrication at the joint from the blood flow, then we can really notice the effects of that cracking cartilage, as it were. And cracking cartilage, I would actually going to take back that term. I don't like that term. That sounds too dramatic. I think flaking might be a little bit of a better term. But what do we need to do? Well, when some people say, well, you've got arthritis, you can't use that anymore. That area is done. It's degenerated, it's done. I completely disagree with that. What we need to do is we need to basically make sure that we're listening to our body and modifying appropriately. So once we have arthritis, I'm not sitting here saying this is how you get rid of arthritis. This is not a video to say this is how you get rid of arthritis, because unfortunately, when it's there, we're probably not going to reverse it. But that doesn't mean that you have to suffer the symptoms. What you can definitely do is reduce those symptoms so you can carry on doing the things you love. So what are the things that we need to think about? Well, firstly, exercise modification where possible, and listening to the body. So, for example, if you're someone like me who loves to go out running and you get pain during your running, does it mean we need to stop running? Well, yes and no. What I would typically recommend is for a period of time, a few weeks, I would stop running and modify that exercise to go to a non-weight bearing form of cardio. So that might be cycling or a cross trainer, for example, where we can mimic the action of running without the impact on the arthritis. Then what we want to do is modify our running by slowly returning to the mileage. So if I was out running a 10-mile run before, I would reduce that to a 2-mile run. Listen to my body, understand the symptoms, and we'll find that area that we can currently work to without aggravating the signs of arthritis. Now, it might kick in straight away. Okay, so be it. Then we go to our non-weight bearing exercises that hopefully don't cause the symptoms. And if something like cycling sore, we could go to something that's even less demanding, like swimming, where the therapeutic benefits of water may be helpful. And then it's really a case of slowly bringing back that activity while we try to carry on with some of the other tips that I'm about to come on to. So one of the other tips needs to be that we want to make the area as strong as possible around the site. So for example, if we pick on the knee, what we want to do is all the muscles that cross and look after that knee, we want to make sure that they're as strong as possible. So that might be our quads, that might be our hamstrings, that might be our glutes. Now, in particular, if I'm working with somebody with arthritis, what we would like to do is do those exercises that's not going to aggravate the area, but work the muscle group. So for example, if I've got somebody with knee arthritis and I want to make the glutes as strong as possible to control that knee, I'll go to an exercise where we don't have to aggravate our knee symptoms as such, but what we can do is just utilize the glutes. So something like a wiper exercise that I call a hip abduction, where we're laying on our side, lifting our leg up away from our body. You can see here that I'm working that glute area, but actually I'm not putting any strain on my knee. So that's a great exercise to be able to make that as strong as possible. We could try something like a seated knee extension. So where we're sitting and we're just looking to bring our leg up and squeeze that thigh as tightly as possible so that we can get a good workout. Another exercise might be something like a glute bridge. Now this is something that will put a bit more impact on the knee, but again, what we're trying to do is really target those glutes and hamstrings without having too much movement at the knee, too much impact on the knee. So this is a way that we're making that area as strong as possible. Now, it might be that you're affected in an area that's not your knees, but really my point about this is see a healthcare specialist, somebody who can get a program for you that isolates the key players in your affected area without actually increasing the symptoms of arthritis with a really good personalized rehabilitation program. What we also want to do is make sure the flexibility on the area of the muscles that are the players in that area is good. So if for this video we talk about the knee, we want to make sure that things like our quads have good flexibility, our hamstrings have good flexibility, our glutes have good flexibility. So you'll see here, things like the quads, can we lay on our front and bring our foot up towards our bottom? As we bring that foot up towards the bottom, what are we feeling there? Is that aggravating our symptoms, or hopefully we're just getting a good stretch through the front of the leg? If we are, great, we're stretching that out without aggravating our symptoms. Then we can spin onto our back and bring our leg up to straight. Again, can we bring our leg up to straight till when we feel pull in the back of the hamstring? Brilliant, we're stretching out those hamstrings that cross that knee without aggravating those symptoms. With our glutes, lay on our back and bring our leg across the body. Again, we shouldn't be getting knee symptoms here, but we're getting a good hip glute stretch. Again, we know the glutes are big players in stabilizing that lower limb, so that's going to be super helpful in not aggravating those knee symptoms. So then we can also look at things like diet. We know that if we've got particularly weight-bearing areas that are affected by arthritis, if we can reduce our body weight, and now I'm not by any means recommending that anybody goes on strict diets, but making good lifestyle changes that's going to allow us to perhaps reduce our weight a little bit in a comfortable, controlled manner, then that could easily reduce the symptoms being suffered with by arthritis. But again, I would always recommend that you speak to GPs or nutritional experts to come up with the right program for you. And then the final thing, again, an area where I'm not an expert, but I would recommend speaking to a nutritionist, is just around simple supplementation. So it may well be that you can get over-the-counter supplements that are good for arthritis. They'll be able to advise you on the best ones for you, but there are over-the-counter supplements that can be really good at boosting a blood flow and reducing your symptoms of arthritis. So what I wanted to get across in this video, what I wanted to be really clear on is we can't get rid of arthritis, but that doesn't mean that we need to stop. That's where I totally disagree with those advice. What we need to do is listen to the body, really understand our body and make subtle changes around modification, around strengthening and flexibility of the area so that we know that we can still do those things we love without aggravating our symptoms. It doesn't have to be an end of all exercise diagnosis. What it means is that we have to understand our body better, exactly what we're trying to do on this channel. So I hope that that video has been helpful for you. If it has, and you've made it this far through the video, smash that like button down below, because that's going to help others to see it. And it's going to help me to know that I need to make more content just like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, interestingly, most people who watch our videos haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel. Why not? Hit that subscribe button down below. That helps us out hugely, and it also allows you to join our community where I can be sending you videos as soon as I drop the next one. Speaking of the next one, I look forward to seeing you there.